Exactly, yeah.
Okay, we'll get going here. The South Washington County Telecommunications Commission, Thursday, January 23rd, 2025, 7 o'clock. We are at City of Cottage Grove Council Chambers. As Executive Director, can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Downs.
Here.
Commissioner Engelmann.
Here.
Commissioner Thiede.
Here.
Commissioner Bloom.
Here.
Commissioner Date. Here. Commissioner Davis.
Here?
Commissioner James.
Here.
Commissioner Polta.
Here.
Also present is legal counsel Michael Bradley, technical manager Lonnie Garland, and myself, Ann Schweisguth.
Okay, we have a quorum.
We do.
Next up, public comment. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Next one, approval of the agenda.
Move the agenda. Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Move on to consent agenda. Looking for a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Final reports. Ann?
Yes, commissioners, we have a very exciting time tonight because we actually have a guest. I don't think we've ever had a guest, so that's pretty cool. Tonight, I am honored to introduce Phil Gents. He is the new communications manager for the city of Cottage Grove. He stopped by tonight to get to know what we're kind of about and what we're doing and to introduce himself. So, Phil?
Thank you, Ann. Chair Bloom, Commissioners, good evening. My name is, as Ann said, my name's Phil Gents. Excuse me. I'm the City of Cottage Grove's Communications Manager. I'm now closing in on month 4 on the job. Regrettably, it has taken me that long to come before you and introduce myself, so apologies for that. It's been a whirlwind and busy few months, so would have loved to have been here sooner, but better late than never, I suppose will do. At any rate, just want to thank you for the time and for your service on this commission. And of course, just introduce myself to you all as the City of Cottage Grove's Communications Manager. I came from the city of Duluth, both as a resident and employee of the city of Duluth, as the Communications and Policy Officer up there. That title's a little different than the one down here, but the work is very similar. Managing communications across that organization, handling a lot of policy and legislative affairs. And then, not surprisingly, the work and role here at the City of Cottage Grove is very similar, with the added benefit of I learned upon interviewing for this position that I have a title I didn't know I have, which is a PhD. I graduated from Park High School, so I have that under my belt, which I found very entertaining and delightful and still do to this day. So I was born and raised in Cottage Grove, and so it's been an honor to come back to my hometown and continue my professional career for a city that I've loved and had near and dear to my heart for a long time. So with that, I just again wanted to really briefly introduce myself to you all. Thank you for your service as a part of this commission, and then just say in the good but brief amount of time that I've had the honor to work so far with the city, Ann and her team have been a pleasure to work with. So I just wanted you to know that and to hear that from me and from my colleagues and team, that they've been incredibly professional and produce a great product, as I'm sure you all already know. So that's really all I've got. I'd be happy to chat afterwards or answer questions, but of course I want to have you get back to your business tonight too. So that's all I've got.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. Phil's been great to work with. Our production team works very closely with Phil and his team, and he's been doing a great job so far. We also have 2 new commission members today for SWCTC. We have Derek Davis, who is the new alternate for the city of Woodbury. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you.
You came down to our office, had a tour, and Commissioner James was there as well, and we talked about what was going on at the commission and brought you up to speed, and we thank you for taking time to do that. The new commission director from City Cottage Grove, which is Dave Clausen, so now we have 2 Daves from, you can't have too many Daves, so it's okay. Dave came down and also took a tour and got up to speed, so that was great. He is the new alternate for Cottage Grove. So welcome to both of them.
Thank you.
Lonnie and I also met with the city administrators in Newport and St. Paul Park and gave them an update about what's been going on and got some feedback from them. In front of you is a MACTA one-pager, just bringing you up to date on some legislative efforts. I'll talk more about that at the February meeting, but just wanted to make sure that was on everybody's radar. Bob had a really great idea. There's a lot of new elected officials right now, so he had a great idea to do an open house at SWCTC and invite the elected officials and some special guests. So we're doing that next Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. And we're gonna kind of give information about what the commission's doing, give tours, have networking, a little food, get to know everybody a little bit better. So commission directors are always welcome. Anytime I say food, that's always, might bring in more. So that's next Friday, 4 to 6, you're welcome to stop by. And then we wanted to show you the finalized True Lens logo.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we definitely took your advice and we made the True Lens bigger, used that font that we were all enjoying, and pulled it all together. So we did lose the tagline. If we feel like we're gonna add a tagline later, we always can, but it made good sense that we don't need to have a lot of community, repetition in there. So I just wanted to show you that, and Mango Day is now finalizing everything. We should have that finalized information next week, and we will be launching this in late May. And that is all I have.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to legal. Mr. Bradley.
Well, good evening, Mr. Chair, and welcome Commissioner Davis. This ends up being probably the favorite part of the meeting for the commission directors, the legal report. There's actually a number of things that have been going on, and first is we're going to have a new FCC chairperson with the change of administration. So Commissioner Carr, who is a current commissioner, is now the FCC chair, effective Monday. President Trump has also nominated a third Republican FCC commissioner. So that will go through the process of getting confirmed in the Senate. There is new DOJ guidance to cities for ADA compliance with websites. I've been reporting on this a few times. The DOJ issued new rules relating to city websites. And the League of Minnesota Cities just recently put up links to that new guidance. So if you get that, well, you can just go on the lmc.org and you'll find it, I'm sure. But it looked to be very good, detailed guidance, and I would just encourage you to look at it. I'll probably have it in next month's legal report. But this way, you can be ahead of the game and, let folks know. But I think it's good guidance. The Office of Broadband Development in the state of Minnesota had an update on the Digital Opportunity Plan. And remember that this commission participated in that process. And as a result of that, the Office of Broadband Development included community media in the digital opportunity grants that will be handed out over the next year. And just wanted to let you know that that's still in progress. They're looking probably at having grant applications, non-competitive grant applications, starting in the middle of the year. So just be on the lookout for that. And that's in your report as well. The state of New York a few years ago passed a Broadband Affordability Act, which is kind of interesting. They passed an act that basically required communications companies to offer a low-priced broadband package to residents in need. And that was challenged in court. It went to the, I believe, Second Circuit Court of Appeals. And the Second Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the law, the state law. And then it was appealed to the Supreme Court, or at least a petition for appeal to the Supreme Court. But certiorari was denied, meaning the court did not take it up. So that's good law now. So that state broadband, New York Broadband Affordability Act is in place, and it just started really in January here. So something to be aware of when you're talking about legislation and those types of planning things. to keep that in mind when you're talking about those opportunities. Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals rejected the FCC's reclassification of broadband. So I've reported on this in the past too, where the FCC had passed an order about the middle part of last year, reclassifying broadband from a Title I information service to a Title II telecommunications service. And the Sixth Circuit, by rejecting it, has said that, no, it's an information service, not a Title II telecommunications service. The important thing there is, from an FCC standpoint, is the FCC has a lot more regulatory authority if it's a Title II telecommunications service. If it's a Title I information service, the FCC has almost no regulatory authority, okay? So if one was looking for regulatory authority over broadband, it would then fall to the states and local governments if the states allowed that, okay? So remember, there was a bill last year called the Equal Access to Broadband Act that'll be reintroduced this session as well. And finally, just to let you know that I haven't been slacking. I went to the Oklahoma Association of Municipal Attorneys back in October, I think, or November. I went to and spoke. I was one of the speakers there. And then I spoke at the ACM Northeast Conference, which was in Connecticut. I did that remotely, thankfully. Because they said, Mike, will you come to Mystic, Connecticut in December? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. But I will participate remotely, so I did. And then, I was also featured on a podcast, another Cablecast podcast. So I think that's my second podcast now, so I feel very good about that. And then lastly, Ann may have sent this around to you, but I had an article published in the International Municipal Lawyers Association publication called Municipal Lawyer. And it's an article on broadband franchising called "This is the Way Broadband Franchising Leads to Equal Access to Broadband," something along those lines. So that'll probably also be in your legal report for next month, but I just wanted to throw it out there so that you knew that that is out there, and I'm hoping that cities will take a look at that and states will look at that and think hard about the policy behind the Equal Access to Broadband Act. That's my report. I'm happy to answer questions.
Anything at the state level? Last year we had some momentum going with, some bills being looked at least in committee. Anything in the works or what's being thought about for this session?
A lot of things are in the works. Well, a couple of things. One, the league will have an author for the Equal Access to Broadband Act. Again, I'm told. I have not seen that dropped yet. There's a little bit of a mess going on, as you probably know.
Yeah, right.
At the legislature. So I think there's some of that's we're just waiting for that to kind of sort itself out. And then, MACTA is looking, besides that act, I think MACTA is looking at a request for funding for access media. So it'd be like, I think it's a general fund ask. So it'd be an ask like how public television and public radio are funded in Minnesota. So that's going on as well. I don't have anything to report as far as bill numbers. I don't have anything to report for hearings and such. So stay tuned. I think that's partly why Ann was holding off till February to give her more of a detailed legislative report.
Okay.
Yep. Great question. By the way, I'm going to miss Andrea Dade. I need to say that. Because are you getting off the commission now?
No, actually,
Oh, there's news.
I,
Newsflash.
Stay to the end.
well, I'm no longer a council member. However, there is a stipulation within the bylaws that state that a council can appoint someone to serve as their council representative.
Yeah,
So
right.
I will continue to serve in that capacity.
Oh, you will? Oh, I thought you were going off to the watershed, whatever, so, well, that's great news.
Thank you. I'm very excited to continue on. You guys are way too much fun to walk away, and I'm excited
Well,
about the
yeah,
rebranding.
well, I'm sure it was
and
the legal reports that
move,
kept you
and
around.
It certainly was.
Yeah,
So that was top
That's
of the
great.
list.
That's great.
Well, Mike, if you would have read the packet, you would have seen at the end that there's something coming related to Andrea, so.
I only pay
We'll talk
attention to
about
the.
that in a
I
little
only-
He wants us to read his stuff, but not our stuff.
You're the commission directors.
Hey, we don't need to pay him to review the packet. He charges by the hour, right?
I even read it and seen it, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Mike.
Yep, you bet.
Unfinished business, Central Park office relocation, Kraus Anderson. Ann, you want to start with this, or just
Yes,
Kraus
we have
Anderson,
Eric
come on up?
Quam from Kraus Anderson to give an update on the budget and will be where we're going to be heading for the next section
Yes.
of the project.
Good evening, Commissioners. Appreciate you letting me speak to give you an update again. As promised in the last time we saw each other, the number is going down. Anticipated for bids, as you can kind of see there, just dropping all the way down to the bottom of the page there. We're starting to see that gradual decline in estimated pricing. A lot of that comes through the work that Wold's doing on mechanical and electrical, really starting to hone in that scope where we can work with contractors to make sure we're giving the right number here. A lot of those are coming from that. Good numbers from product selection, so you can see all those savings are coming up at the top of the screen. Because soft costs are really unchanged at this point. And a lot of that's coming in from product selections and be able to hone in on those values there. Right there, about the second number down, you see the design contingency. We are shrinking that, just like we talked about last time as we get more detailed in the drawings. Leave just a little bit there to get us to the bids from the contractors, just to make sure in case anything comes up here in the final stretch that we're at least accounting for it. That's just one item that if it doesn't end up getting used, that it just comes off at the March update when we hope to have bids for you to approve. And then so on a numbers side of things, that's basically where we're at. We don't have any design updates. The renderings that, Wold shared at the last meeting is what we're proceeding with to construction documents at this time. Just because we are seeing the favorable numbers come in at each iteration of estimates that we're going the right direction. So, next steps really today are, giving Lonnie and the staff and Ann the approval to solicit quotes. Because of the way that the project is estimated, the anticipated estimates for each individual scope are under the state statute of $175,000, which means we don't have to go through the public bidding, sealed bid and opening. That's something that Wold and KA can solicit for you. To receive multiple quotes, we still send it out to a bunch of people, but we don't have to post it or anything like that, with your approval here tonight. And then at the March board meeting, we will have the quotes for you, in a recommendation so that we can, so that the commission can enter into a contract. And then we will hit the ground running and be ready for you here at the end of summer or early fall with being able to move into your new digs.
Should expect to see that come in under $1 million then, huh?
I would love to see it. I
995,
wouldn't, yeah, I would definitely be okay with it, if the contractors are aggressive. I mean, we do have a great bid market right now. A lot of contractors are really hungry, looking for work. This is a good project. It's a smaller project, so it's good projects for contractors to fill in gaps, if they do have any in their current backlogs. So that's an appealing one for a lot of people. And we have contractors on site already that are probably just itching to have reasons to stay on site too and not get people in their backyard currently. And then here to answer any questions you might have from the last time I was here.
No? Good. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
So I guess that what we're looking for is the action requested is to approve the estimated budget and permission to quote the Central Park relocation construction project.
Yeah, if the commission is comfortable approving the estimated budget tonight, that's great. We definitely need approval to quote the project. So that is up to the commission.
Okay. Need any discussion or?
I'll move to approve the Central Park office budget.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Does that include the permission to quote?
And permission, I also will move for permission to quote. What else do I need to say?
Central
That's
Park
it.
office relocation
Yeah.
project. Yep.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
And it passes. Make them good. So, cheap.
See you in March.
Thanks.
Thanks, Eric.
Moving down, 2025 officer nominations. Commissioner James.
Yes. Back in December, we convened a nominating committee, which included myself, Commissioner Thiede, and Commissioner Downs. And out of that, we reached a formal recommendation of having a new slate of officers, which is really just a shuffling of positions from 2024. So for that, we'd like to move Andrea into the chair role from her vice chair position in 2024. And then have Commissioner Wilczek take on the vice chair position from treasurer. And then Commissioner Downs will take on the treasurer role. And then Commissioner Bloom will step down from the chair position and move into the secretary position. So it was kind of a good fit for all around. And keeping Andrea on for another year allowed her to kind of take that vice chair role and then move into the chair role. And so I think we've got some good work ahead, like she said, that she's excited about. So this feels like a good slate of representing all the cities. Nobody's doubled up on this, and so it feels kind of, we're sharing the power, if you will, across all the member cities. So I'd be looking for, I guess there's a formal process we have to go through to see if anybody else has any
myself a few
changes.
times here, so. I'm going to open up the floor for any additional nominations. I got to ask 3 times, so are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve the recommendation of slate of officers.
I'll make a motion to approve the slate of recommended officers.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, everyone. Moving on to number 8, new business. Ann?
None.
None. We'll move on. Commission comments and requests.
So in light of, a little bit in light of this and how much I like statistics and numbers and things like that, I was kind of thinking, and we may have some of the numbers already, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting to know, and compare how many households are actually paying in through, Xfinity and Comcast and so forth. And then also, I think from people watching, we can actually determine different or unique IP addresses, right? Can we pick that data up at all? No.
As far as I know, there's no way to track that.
Oh, if they come into the website, we can.
We can see how many people come to our website to view content, yes, and how long they stay on our website, yes.
We can't really determine the number that are watching.
At a given time, no, there's no Nelson ratings for streaming.
Okay.
Not yet, anyway. There could
But
be coming.
some of that other, and
Not
then
that I know.
obviously, then you got the number of people. So basically, what I'm kind of trying to think of is, well, what percentage of households and so forth are actually paying in, and what percentage are actually using, our services? And I don't know if, so that was, I was thinking of ways to maybe kind of get that information. And it wouldn't necessarily be able to, ideally, I'd like to know, well, how many people are using it that aren't paying for it? But that's really tough to get, right? But, and I think we've discussed it before too. Do you somehow charge people, but it'd be very difficult probably to do anything like that, but,
Yeah, there's really not a business model for how to charge people for a streaming service that's offered free from everybody
Yeah.
else. And you're talking about streaming compared to cable subscriptions, right? We can tell you how many cable subscribers there are. They give us that data. They know that. But how many people are watching through a broadband service? We don't have those numbers. I don't even
and I don't know if
even how we
anything
get
like
those.
that would help, with something like this, if somehow we were saying that, well, hey, there's a bunch of people that are really using the services that aren't paying for them, and a lot of people that are paying for them that really maybe aren't taking advantage of it, but, and we've always talked about, well, how do we make it enough of a value so people would like to pay for it, right? Type of deal, but.
How do you get that information across? I think you bring up a good point, Commissioner Thede, that we really do need to make that argument. And while we don't have Nielsen ratings on the channels and things like that, we do have data on how many people watch a city council meeting, how many people watch certain videos, and we do gather that data and can look at that. And then we obviously do have data on how many subscribers we have around the area.
Right.
So,
Right, that one's probably pretty easy one.
Yeah.
It's number of households per.
yeah, and we definitely have data on what our decrease has been looking like.
Right, and that was,
Yeah.
I kind of found that interesting, because we were obviously, back quite a few years, I was quite concerned about that, but, and, so it didn't happen quite as quickly as I thought it might, but it is happening, right, yeah.
Yeah, we'll continue to look at that and see what else we can gather.
Good,
Thank you for the
Thank you.
feedback.
Because we only get funding from people that subscribe to cable, right?
right.
Correct.
So far,
Yeah.
right? Because the thing you've been pushing for 2 years is broadband, right? How do we get the legislature to enable us and then be ready to act?
Comcast won't tell us how many people have signed up for internet access versus how many can they get a cable, subscribe to cable TV?
They may provide, and they have at times provided, what they consider non-public data on number of cable subscriptions in the area. I have not seen them provide internet numbers anywhere. Because you don't have a franchise for internet services.
We could ask.
Yeah,
You
the
could
worst
say
that'll
no,
happen is
but
they say,
we could ask.
go pound sand.
Say
but-
no. Yeah.
You could ask, yeah.
And what do you think the percentage is, the people that got cable but don't have, they got cable coming to the house but aren't signing up for cable TV?
It's a
Probably
gro-
less than half.
It's a growing number.
Yeah.
I bet it's less than 50%.
I don't know. Without studying it more, I wouldn't want to guess in public.
So I recently moved my mom into a 55-plus building, and they had two options for internet, kind of through CenturyLink, or what used to be CenturyLink, and then Xfinity. And then, so that was her internet. And then the TV service was, she doesn't get, she gets, I think it's really just streaming, because she's able to watch channels. Like she watched the Hallmark channel and the Home Network channel, or but she doesn't get Channel 4, Channel 5, network broadcast. So and I haven't checked her bill, which I could do. I mean, would she be paying for, is that considered just streaming service, and therefore it's not considered cable TV for her then? Even though it's coming from Xfinity, Comcast?
Well, number one, I don't know exactly what your mother is getting there.
Yeah.
Comcast does have a streaming platform that looks exactly like cable.
Right.
So my guess is that might be what she's getting.
Yes.
Something like the
But they don't consider
Xfinity
it as part of the
Flex.
franchise agreement then?
Comcast considers it to be not cable service.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Does the programming that she received look similar, strikingly similar, to broadcast television?
Yeah, for the channels that she's
Okay,
watching.
so the definition of cable service under the Federal Cable Act is video programming or other programming, okay? Video programming is considered programming comparable to broadcast programming. And it's provided over a cable system. So if Comcast is delivering video programming, no matter how it's done, it's cable service.
Right,
Comcast claims it's not,
it's not. All right,
and says get a court order to tell us that it is.
okay.
That's the issue.
How bored are you?
I'm not bored. And I'm ready. But, you know, and step back for a second. I mean, Comcast has the Flex program that it sells to internet customers. That's how they differentiate. They say that it's only sold to internet-only customers. They have Peacock, which is sold
Right, yep.
to internet and cable customers, whoever. They've got another product called Zumo, which is a product that is like a joint venture with Charter, another streaming product. They don't pay franchise fees on any of that revenue, and it's all video delivered over the cable system.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at Peacock, and you're thinking, okay, well, is it comparable to broadcast television? Broadcast television is NBC, ABC, CBS, right? So when you watch the Olympics over the summer, how did you watch the Olympics? On NBC,
Yep.
a broadcast channel, or
Peacock.
where else?
Yep.
Peacock. It was the same programming.
Yep.
Well, all the channels now are working some way for you to get the broadcast channels on streaming, right?
Yep.
But when you're looking at an operator that's in your public rights of way, that holds a cable franchise, and they're required to pay franchise fees on cable service. Cable service is video programming. Video programming is programming like broadcast programming.
And I get, yeah, and that's all being delivered through the same,
It's all being delivered over the cable system, period.
yeah, so the ones that don't necessarily qualify is like the DirecTV that's bringing it in over satellite,
That's satellite, yeah.
which that's not really using necessarily right away, right?
Yeah, I don't want to get into DirecTV right now.
Still pull fiber to their dishes.
Well, now, you know, you got the.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but look at how DirecTV is actually delivered now.
Well, yeah, I know.
It's different
I
than,
know
it's different than satellite
I
television.
think it's the pigeons on that commercial that are saying, hey, there's no, you know, no other, then aren't they be delivering streaming services on it through other internet now too, or was I, did
Oh,
I?
DirecTV has streaming also. It's not satellite based.
A lot of streaming. So we're at a crossroads in the video marketplace and for franchising. And so when I say broadband franchising is the way, I think it is the way for the future. And cities need to be able to stand up for themselves and say why, which is why I wrote that article. But right now, we are getting underpaid in franchise fees. There's no question about it, in my mind. You won't be surprised to hear that the cable operators disagree with my assessment.
I'm glad I asked.
Any more discussion?
I'm glad you asked too.
Comments? Looking,
To adjourn?
looking for a motion to adjourn, you bet.
Did you move? I'll
Oh, I
second.
did. Yep.
All's in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.